Hey guys, so we're down here low on the ground and I wanted to devote an entire video just to the belly boxes under the semi. You know, it's amazing that these belly boxes, the original ones, survived all these years. They were kind of hidden with all of the other skirting and all the other boxes that were kind of added to it. But if you've been following this series, you saw how we removed everything else. We got just the belly boxes exposed again, pretty much how they were. And some of you might remember, you know, in some of those videos, they had, after the show, someone had cut holes in all the doors for new latches. So what I wanted to do today is first kind of show you the belly boxes as they are today, and then I wanted to show you a couple screenshots from the show that hopefully inform us as to how these doors actually latched to the boxes themselves. Right now they're just here and they flop around, but and we never get a super good look at an up-close look at the doors, so unfortunately, we only have certain screenshots from kind of far away, but I'm hoping between, you know, my analysis and your analysis that we can figure out exactly what hardware we need on these doors to get them back to the appearance they were in back in 1986. So it's all about the belly boxes today on the Knight Rider Historians. Okay, so belly boxes. So if you recall, there were the openings. They had put these pull latches in here that would hook on to, you know, this right here, and that is what would keep them shut. But that is not what was on these doors whenever it was used on the show. So off camera, we got all the holes filled with, you know, we got aluminum. I think this is 1/4-inch aluminum. We got it in, we grafted it in, got it all smoothed out, got it primed. So that piece of this is done. And the other thing we did is, these are the original holes for the pull handles that they had on the show. Those were actually on the show. These holes were all filled in. So I went through and I cleaned all the filler out and got those holes exposed again. 4 1/8 is the center to center. So we need to find pull handles that look as close as we can get to what they were on the show, that are 4 1/8 from center to center, 4 1/8 inches. And we've got things like these holes here. There's a little hole there, this hole here. Haven't filled those in yet. Not exactly sure what those are for and if those are from the show. And as you can see, as we come down here, little hole here, another bigger hole here, but then we've got a big hole here, little holes here, so, and then a hole down here in this corner. Now we know that these boxes not only are original, we know the doors are original too, because if you remember, in one of our early videos after we got the trailer, we were able to screen match this piece that the studio added on, because when they were creating this door, someone cut it incorrectly. So they had to graft on an additional piece of aluminum. And you can actually see this piece of aluminum in a couple screenshots, namely in Hearts of Stone, when Michael and Devon are walking by, you can actually see this piece on here. So we know 100% that at least this door is original, but honestly, they're all original, right? They all have the holes for where the handles were. So none of this has ever been changed. These rivets have never been drilled out. We're gonna keep it that way. But we've got to figure out a couple things. Like I said, first we got to figure out the handles, which, like I said, 4 1/8 center to center. So maybe you guys can do your magic and find ones that, you know, look period correct. But then we got to figure out the handles. So I'm pretty sure that they were like quarter turn handles. So you'd push the door in, turn it, and it would lock, like a cam, I think it's called a cam lock, right? So you have a thing like this, you turn the handle, and it would lock in behind this lip right here, okay? So I'm pretty sure the original holes for those cam locks were where someone had cut out the big latches here. So I don't think, like this is not, I don't think that's an original hole for the, specifically for the handle. I think it's too small. And if you look, there was, it appears to be a handle right there, then nothing here, then a handle right there and a handle right there, and nothing there. So two handles right there, nothing, nothing, and a handle there. And one of the things I was doing is, let's see if I can bring you underneath, is, or not underneath, inside. So when we look inside here, like I was trying to see if there's, I don't know, wear marks in here from where the cam lock would be. I didn't see anything, but honestly, it's been so long that if there were wear marks, they're probably all gone now. I got to replace all this foam weather stripping as well, just to kind of keep it sealed tight. But yeah, so we need to find some quarter turn cam lock handles, whatever. And I think, you know, they come in different depths, right? So the depth we would need, because this panel is 1/4 inch, this panel is not 1/4 inch, that looks like an 1/8 inch. So we probably need like a 3/8 inch cam lock, something along those lines, I would think. And we need 3 of them with the turn handle. So that's the handles. And then there's another part of this, right? So in the wrong crowd, there's a great shot. It's pretty much from this angle, right? So you see all the bikers are right here in the warehouse, the semi's right here. It's framed similar to this. And all the bikers take off. I think it's the scene where KITT comes with his tinted windows and is a decoy and all the bikers follow, which incidentally, that KITT is the one we own, which is so weird. Anyways, but there's a scene where it's like this, and you see all the bikers leave. Well, if you look at the belly boxes, there's actually like hoops right here and right here, like right, honestly, like right where this notch is. There's a hoop that comes out almost like a hitch pin, right? Whenever you put a hitch on a truck and you put the rod in and the pin you push, it almost looks something like that. But so as soon as I saw that, and by the way, that was spotted by one of our viewers, Ryan Smith. So Ryan, thank you. I had not noticed that before, so I appreciate you sending that over. But it was almost like right in the middle. But you look under here, and like there's nothing, you know, if that was one of those pins, because I thought maybe there was a pin that they pushed in to hold the door shut. But there's no holes here, right? And there never was a hole here for the pin to go in. And there's nothing under here, there's nothing under here. So I'm kind of at a loss as to what that hoop is. And furthermore, there was a hoop on that one too, but that one doesn't have a notch out of it like this one does. So there's one in the center there, one in the center there, but I don't think there was one in that door. So it's kind of a mystery as to what those hoops are. So what do you guys think they are? Now, we do have up here this eyelet and this eyelet. And these eyelets are original. There was always something hanging from this eyelet, almost like a spiral cord, almost like an old telephone cord. And I think what that was used for is, what they would do is whenever they needed to have the doors open, they would open them like this, right? And then they would take whatever's hanging there, and I think they would like hook it to the handle to keep that up so they could get into the belly box. And going back to what I said about how there was a handle there, but none there, and one there, look at where the eyelets are. There's one eyelet there, right there, where there were 2 handles. And then the other eyelet is way down here where the other handle was. So they had something hanging there. It looked like it was kind of a curly Q, like I said, a telephone cord that would be used. I think when they would open that, they would tie it to the handle and that would keep the door open. So, yeah, so we got to figure out these handles, these cam locks, handles in the middle, and what those hoops are. So this is really neat because this was all hidden. There were panels welded here. There was another belly box here, if you remember. But it was neat whenever we got rid of all that. You can see this still has the original black paint on it from when it was used on Knight Rider. Just hidden for 30 years. So this all that's all gonna get repainted, cleaned up and repainted black. But, so there you go. There's your belly box video. So what we need to do is we, as fans of the show, need to figure out the hardware of these belly boxes, because we want to make sure that these are all done, they can be latched, and obviously before we do any painting, if there's any holes we need to drill in here for those locks, we want to get that done before it gets painted. So, all right, that's pretty much what I've got on the belly boxes. If you have any thoughts, if you can help us find some of this hardware, if you know what those hoops are at the bottom, just put it in the comments, shoot us an email, knightriderhistorians@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Hey guys, well, we're at the back of the semi here. Thought I'd take a minute and go over our latest Patreon flag agent questions. If you want to learn more about our Patreon community where we have exclusive Knight Rider content that you won't see anywhere else, link down in the description below and in the corner of this video right now. So I think what I'll do is pop this open and sit here because I've been standing a lot today and I'm tired, right? Time to sit down. All right. There we go. So I have my trusty list here. So first I wanted to welcome Chris Lazuski. That sounds about right. Chris is one of our latest Patreon flag agents. Chris, thank you so much for joining. We greatly appreciate it. All right, so we've got about 4 different agents that have submitted their questions, so let's get right to it. Brian Sellers, have you thought of any plans to display, tour, or recreate the Season 1 White Knight mobile flag unit? No, we haven't, only because, well, it's not white anymore. It's sandblasted back to bare aluminum. And, you know, we're really just all gung-ho and full speed ahead with getting this restored back to the Season 4 configuration. So we're not gonna pause and kind of build up a Season 1 set in here and tour it or anything like that. So it's just gonna be Season 4 all the way. All right, Mike P. In Back to the Future, at the scene shot at the Twin or Lone Pine Mall, we see that Doc Brown has a GMC van. Since many were also used on Knight Rider, do you know if this particular van was used for both? That's an interesting question, Mike. I had never done any research on that. You can bet that I want to now. They're both Universal Productions. They were both at the time of the, you know, they're both filmed at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if Doc Brown's van popped up in Knight Rider, probably before it was Doc Brown's van. And I'm assuming that that van, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, the Back to the Future fans, but I'm assuming that the studio modified the back of that van with the ramp. Probably didn't come with that originally from the factory. I wouldn't think so. So if it was in Knight Rider, it was probably with your standard swing doors. But now you have me curious. I am going to do a little research and check that out. And if I find that it was on Knight Rider, I'll let you guys know. All right, second question. We know that Universal backlot is used extensively in both productions, meaning Back to the Future and Knight Rider, but do you know of other less obvious cross uses since they're both 80s Universal and probably shared a lot? I'd imagine, I mean, we already talked kind of about the vehicles, right? The van. I would imagine some of the other vehicles in Back to the Future we saw in Knight Rider, like behind, or like background vehicles. I'd have to check, but Jennifer's, you know, at the beginning of Back to the Future, the first one where Jennifer's dad comes up in that Jeep, doesn't that Jeep look very similar to the Jeep we see in Lost Night that the two thieves, the plastique thieves, used to escape? I'll have to check that out too. Maybe that's the same Jeep. I don't know. But I'm sure vehicles, and like you said, the back lot was used extensively. So there's definitely connections there. All right, David Lyons. Knight Rider has a strong appeal to us guys, and even among the Patreon members, it's predominantly guys. Although we do have some females in our group as well, in our Patreon group. Not many people realize that the show really was decades ahead of its time. Yes, it definitely was. Almost no women were engineers in 1982, yet the show made a point to have women, such as Bonnie and April, as KITT's engineers and portray them as incredibly smart, even if the real tech didn't exist yet. Why do you suppose there aren't more women as supporters and fans? You know, I think there's a lot of women that like the show. I personally know a lot through this channel and through the ones that I've met. And you know, even back in the early 80s, there were women engineers. I couldn't tell you if they're more prominent now than they were back then, maybe. Do I think Knight Rider influenced young girls to later become scientists or computer programmers? Absolutely. But in terms of fans, now, you know, when I look at the show as a whole and the fans as a whole, yeah, I do think there's more guys, and maybe it's just the car aspect of it. I don't know. I mean, you know, women like cars too, but maybe I don't know. I just don't know. That's a very interesting question. But, you know, I do know there are a lot of female fans of the show, and a lot of ones that became engineers or computer programmers or along those lines because of the show. All right, and our last question from Jeremy Stidham. I'm sitting here watching season 3 for the millionth time and thought of a question. In the opening credits, Bonnie turns around in a red shirt and smiles. I don't think we ever saw her in an episode wearing that. Any chance you know anything about that? That's very interesting you bring that up, Jeremy, because I have thought that since I was a little kid. I remember watching that scene, I'm like, this isn't from an episode, which is kind of strange because like all of the other scenes in the show, like in the opening theme, like when you see Hasselhoff or when you see Edward Mulhare, like those are all clips that they pulled out of an episode. But for some reason, for Patricia McPherson, they didn't. And that always bothered me, and I don't know why. It would be interesting to do some research and figure out like what episode were they filming when they did that? Because clearly she changed into a completely unique outfit that was never seen in an episode, went into the set on stage 1, the semi-set, and filmed that brief scene. So that's a very, very interesting question. Something maybe we'll dig into and do a video on this channel about, because I'm curious too. Never really dug into it. Okay, short and sweet. That's all the questions we have this week. If you're a Patreon flag agent, be sure to get your questions in. We love answering for you guys on our videos. All right, short and sweet today. The belly boxes. Hope you enjoyed this. Look forward to talking with you again. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hello friends, it's me, KITT. When I'm not out fighting crime, I like to follow my friends at knightriderhistorians.com. Check it out.